Buenos noches, everyone. How's everyone doing? All right. Okay, I'm going to kick it off with a quick poll. How many of you have a Visa MasterCard on your wallet? Come on, keep raising. Okay. How many of you have a Lightning wallet in your phone? Okay. How many of you have used a Lightning wallet with the transaction? All right. How many like Chivo wallet? All right. Thank you for your participation in the poll. I'm going to start off my journey that I started back in 2017 and how I ended up here and what we learned over the past 6 to 12 months in El Salvador. Back in 2017, I got into Bitcoin, started working with Lightning, and I had a dream. We have seen the Visa Master credit card in every retail locations. What if we change that and put a Lightning payment in every single store? And of course, it was too early at that time. I was just keep running it myself. But then in June 2021, when Bukele announced the Bitcoin law, I got really excited. Okay, this is it. This is the first country which has the Bitcoin law, so let's go find out how it is. So I packed my bags, came here on the day one when the law went into effect. The first day, I went into a Starbucks. I was able to use my own blue wallet, pay for my coffee, and drink it. That was a magical experience. But then, last week I went into the same Starbucks. They stopped accepting it. So, if you look at today, there are about 80,000 merchants here in El Salvador, of which 20,000 accept credit card transactions that you can pay with the Visa or Master. But less than 1,000 merchants accept Bitcoin. Why? There should be a reason. You can look at this a couple of ways. One, you can say, hey, it's not zero, it's 1,000, which is good. It's better than zero. But if it's 1,000 and it takes a year, it's going to take a lot more years to get to 20 and get to 80. Also, the trend is not going up, it's actually going down. So what can we do? How can we learn? How can we change this? First, let's start with the behavior of the merchants. Merchants are primarily focused on their products, selling it to their customers. Payment is an enabler, is a tool to make their business work. And of course, they have gone through so many iterations here with the government as well as with other laws that they are always hesitant when something changes, when a new thing comes up, that they don't want to be the first one to be involved with this or to negatively affect their business. Bitcoin companies, from Bitcoin Beach Wallet to Chivo to other companies, startup companies here, they are trying to do everything. In a way, it's good that they are trying to bring in more people into the ecosystem, but they are actually falling short. What do I mean by that? We have seen several stories come out that the merchants are not able to use the Chivo wallet to accept payments. I've seen even yesterday on Telegram with people posting that after 10 minutes, 20 minutes, a Chivo transaction got canceled and they had to wait and all that. More focus on technology. There are so many good companies, open sourced. They're building a lot of great products to enable merchants, enable wallets to accept transactions. But they're falling short on process and people. if you provide a wallet to a merchant, and if they're not able to use it, if they're not able to switch between an on-chain transaction versus a Lightning, that's not good. So you will need to train them, you will need to work with them to make them understand and then make them go through the transaction. Let's look at the merchant side of it. They are familiar with face-to-face interaction. They have been working with banks, they've been working with other providers. They want to first trust. They want to see the person who's going to provide, who's going to hold their money. If you tell them just download a wallet and then make it work, that's not going to work. They're not going to be open to kind of like take it. Maybe they try it once, but then they close it. Several of them even don't trust their governments or the banks. There are no proper training given to their staff. So what happens? That they are not able to understand, they are not able to work through different wallets when the customer wants to pay. And that creates a negativity. And then next time when someone goes, hey, I want to pay with Bitcoin, I'll say, oh, that doesn't work. We don't want that to happen. We want to make sure, we want to train them, we want to get it right so that they can go through with the transaction. And the next thing is they're used to getting the money out, either through their bank account or through dollars. Now, they can accept the Bitcoin on a Bitcoin Beach wallet, but what happens then? They have to run to an ATM to get the dollars, or they have to then push it to their bank account. That is an extra step that they don't have to do today with the credit card transactions. They also need dedicated POS devices. Just by simply using their phone or a tablet may not be easy for them. So there are a lot of issues that the merchants have that are not addressed so that they can go through the payment transactions. Now let's look at the card network, how it operates. You can have two viewpoints here. You can discount this and say, oh, it's a boomer network. We don't have to deal with it. We don't want to look at this. We want to kind of build a new network altogether. Great, but this has been around for 50 years. There are some good features that they have built which are useful for the merchants. So it's better to at least look at it, learn from it, and see if you can replicate it so that it becomes easier for the adoption. If you look at on the center, you see a firewall between an acquiring bank and an issuing bank. The reason they have this firewall in the card network is to make sure that all the transactions are going through the card network, and the banks are having a separate set of process to work with merchants or work with the customer. In some cases, the bank may be the same bank. It could be Chase, or it could be Bank of Agricola here, but they have a clear division. Now let's look at the Lightning Network. With the Lightning Network, what is happening is Chivo is on both the consumer side as well as the merchant side. They think having that is an easier way, but it's actually not for the merchant, because for the merchant, they don't want to have one person look at the entire transaction. Who the customer coming to your location at what time, how much they are paying. So it's better to kind of like have that segregation between them, so that on the consumer side, the wallet, whatever they pay with it, is different than the merchant side. Even if the wallet is the same, it has to go through the Lightning Network, not through a database transaction. So what we need is a firewall. We need to have a segregation between the wallets so that you can still have the wallet for both the merchant as well as for the consumer, but keep it separate so that you can build trust for the merchant, and the merchant doesn't fear that you may steal their clients, you may steal their customers, you may steal their projections and kind of like take it to or sell it to another, their competitor. Let's look at the infrastructure. Having a phone or a tablet may not be the right solution all the time. If you look at the credit card system, you will see multiple devices from a smaller one to the one attached to the POS or the one that they can carry. So we will need multiple form factors which are good for each type of business so that they can use that to quickly get through with the transactions. So that's exactly what we've been doing, just working with the merchants, understanding their needs, and then providing them the right tools or right type of POS devices to make it work. Now, let's look at the Bitcoin companies and what we can do or what we can learn from the card network and self-regulate. There were several conversations, panels that happened with regulating. Some like it, some from the Bitcoin world does not. But we still need to hold ourselves accountable for. In the last couple of weeks, we have seen some major exchanges go down, which created a lot of panic. One of the primary reasons for that is we don't know how much reserves that they own. This is true with the Lightning providers as well. Chivo, Bitcoin Beach Wallet, Strike, they are all custodial wallets. They hold the money. It may not be big, it might be a smaller amount, but still, whenever you have a amount on your Lightning wallet, it's actually been held by the provider. So let's hold them accountable for, have them release a proof of reserve, proof of liabilities, so that we know that the money is safe and the merchants and others can start trusting them more. Also, all the wallet providers are still kind of like acting out all on their own. There are no a common field of advantage or common competitiveness is not there because Chivo, as the first one supported by the government, was able to create link to the banks, create have the ATMs. They have definitely an advantage, but the same thing should be open for other providers so that everyone can provide the same set of services, and in some cases work with the merchants to expand it based on their needs. We need to get this right in El Salvador. We saw several presentations that this is unique. This is the first country where the Bitcoin law went into, and other countries, other companies are closely watching on how things are happening here. If we let this for another year, with the adoption is not so great, then the whole thing is not going to be good for the entire world. So we need to get this right here. If we do it right, then we get a good competitive advantage to grow outside El Salvador and to expand and implement the same set of tools that we create here in El Salvador. That's what we do in Paysea, where we work with the merchants, we understand the problems. Each merchant type have their own set of unique things that they want to do. So we work with them to enable the payment through Bitcoin and provide the payout in their bank account. And we do this and we've been doing this for the past year. We've been slowly ramping up. And as I said, there are some limitations we need to overcome, but for sure, we will get through this together. Thank you. Yes.
Can you speak a little bit to what you've seen from like a, sorry, I usually project pretty well. Can you speak to, obviously you've taken a more hands-on approach with kind of direct sales, high touch, custom hardware to this problem. Can you speak a little bit to what you've seen on merchant retention or increased usage over time? Just obviously anecdotal, but we'd love to hear kind of what you're seeing from who you have onboarded and if you're seeing retaining them longer because of that approach or not.
Sorry, what is the last one?
What just about your like merchant retention and if you're seeing
Yes.
them retain longer and or transaction volumes increase because of the high touch custom hardware approach?
Absolutely, yeah. That's one thing that actually worked so far for us. Whoever we have onboarded have continued to use it, and if they don't use it, we kind of look at it, understand what the problem is, and try to fix it right away. So whoever started to use, first they're kind of hesitant, but then once you go into them, they start to accept, and then they see the transactions come through, then they start to kind of like expand or continue to use. Also, this depends on the person who's interacting with the customer. It could be the front salesperson or a bartender or a waiter. So what we do is we also train them, we educate them, make them understand, and that has worked out really well, where they're the ones who are saying, hey, you want to pay with Bitcoin? That's what we want to hear. Like every time when you want to pay, it's not like, oh, I don't know where the device is, I don't know, it's not going to work. You pay with card versus, do you want to pay with Bitcoin? So that's happening. Thank you.
Hi. Will you foresee that banks can use Bitcoin and Lightning Network as a base layer for their business? As a context, we here in El Salvador had this telephone company called Claro, and they have usually PSTN for telecommunications. And once 10 years ago, they started the voice over IP protocol, and they like kind of swapped their business from PSTN to voice over IP. So my question is, would you foresee these banks using, for example, money over IP or this Bitcoin protocol in the coming future?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's, the way that we are using Lightning to transmit money is the fastest and the cheapest way to transfer money across space and time. So right now, this is in the order of 10x better than what the banks use. So for sure, they are going to flip over. They're going to start using this. The transition is going to happen. Yes. Thank you. All right.
What hardware do you recommend to the merchant?
Yeah, so it is not one size fit all. It starts with tablet for some, but a fixed device in the counter. And right now, there are some POS devices available with printer and stuff like that. But the main thing I would say is it has to be powered, connected, fixed all the time. That can be easily, use it, by the customer, in the front desk. But if you need a printer, if you need NFC, those are a different type of device that you can get to.
Can I ask
Yes,
another question? In Jericoacoara, we are using the POS device with NFC capabilities.
Yep.
And as you said, after we installed it, the customers start to make much more payments.
Yeah.
And it's helping, and also the printer,
Yeah.
in my point of view, is
Yeah.
very important to the merchants.
Yeah.
Here, and I say, like in the conference, I am watching here how they are handling the payments, and anyone is using the printer yet. Do you think, how do you see the printer inside of the point of sale? It's essential, or is just another, hardware that can
No,
complicate?
it should be all together. And usually, like when many business, like depending on the business, if you get a receipt, that's kind of like people confirm that the transaction has made. So it has to be part of the device. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.